To get to the Bid Manager program, we need to start by logging in. The login form is identical to the one that we use for the WinTRF estimating system. So we'll just go ahead and use a login and get logged into the program. Okay, once we're logged in, the Bid Manager displays all the estimates that have been stored in our working directory. Usually the Bid Manager will open the bid list that the estimating system has been using. However, the user does have the opportunity at the login screen to change the bid list source directory. That functionality should already be familiar to our users. If you need help with changing working directories, please call our tech support team for assistance. Before we continue with our presentation, please note that the Bid Manager has a print bid list function that will create a report of all the estimates stored in the working directory. Once we click the print button, we'll see a list of all the estimates that we have stored. As you can see, the report displays the bid and a synopsis of the estimate results. The report can then be sent to a printer, or it can be converted into a PDF file or exported to Excel. You can print it, or you can save it as a PDF file or Excel file. Okay, now that we're back at the Bid Manager, we can click on the job that we want to print. In this case, we've only got one, and that's the one that's highlighted. And we click Print Selected to open up the Report Manager. Once we click Print Selected, our Select Breakouts form that we're all familiar with is displayed. Since we're doing a bid analysis, there's no need to change price options. There's no need to select the breakouts that we want. You may want to do that at a later time if you want to do different things, but for this example, the best thing to do is just allow it to print, and we're just going to go ahead and do that. So now we have the very familiar report system on the screen. Everything functions the same as it did in our estimating system. You will notice, however, that we now have a new Bid Analysis tab, and that is what we are going to focus our attention on. Selecting the Bid Analysis tab displays the two different bid analysis systems that we can work with, as well as some other key information. On the left side of the form, in this case, it is telling us that a work file already exists, and it was calculated on August the 1st, 2019. If it did not exist, it would simply state that a work file did not exist. If it did not exist, the button on the right hand side would just say Calculate Work Files instead of Recalculate. So we have two options. We can either recalculate the work file and overwrite the file that was written on August the 1st, and in some case you might want to do that. You changed some information and exported some new information from the estimating system. But we're going to just use the existing work file, so we could click Bid Takeoff Details, and we click Print to continue on. Okay, once we've logged into the program and have selected the estimate we want to analyze and created the work file, we are presented with this workbook. As you can see, the workbook contains many worksheets that are used to analyze the estimate using different techniques and can be accessed by using the tabs along the bottom. The first worksheet is the detail worksheet, and it contains all the information that was exported from the estimating system. This worksheet is used to provide data that will be displayed in the rest of the worksheets in the workbook. Although it is the source of all the data, it can be used to drill down into an estimate and find different components. If you wanted to find something by the breakout number 2 and all you wanted to see was the teledata stuff, you would unselect everything and select the teledata. And you can break it down even further than that, and you can say, all I want to see is the teledata that was on drawing E2, and now we're seeing only the teledata that was showing on drawing E2. So you can see that you can filter things out and you can analyze the information, but you have a lot of information over here to the right that is difficult for you to see. So let's go back and clear all of this out, and I'm going to select all again, and I'm going to put my worksheet back to the way it was. And we'll continue on with the different other worksheets on the bottom. The next sheet we want to examine is the estimate worksheet, and it is found by selecting the EST tab. The estimator on this project created job assemblies using special items so that he could document his project. The left side of the sheet displays the detailed takeoff data as it came from the estimate. If you were to review the bid detail reports produced by the estimating system, you would see some similarity between the two. There is one slight difference though, and that is you can use filters in the first three columns to locate individual items, which you cannot do on printed reports. At the top of the worksheet, you will see the grand totals for extended material and labor. This information will change dynamically depending on the information selected. In the middle of the sheet are two slicers that are displaying all the job assemblies that were created in the special item systems. We have used two separate slicers since there are so many special items and they are easier to find if we use multiple slicers. To the right is a small slicer that contains a list of special item account codes. The WinTRF systems use account codes to generate a cost code summary. We also allow an estimator to override the built-in account codes when he creates a job assembly so that all the components in the job assembly are allocated by the special item account code. In this way, a fire alarm job assembly allocates all of its parts, that is the wire, the boxes, the conduit, to fire alarm instead of being grouped together under branch rough. As can be imagined, in a post-bid world, this would be extremely helpful in creating schedules, values, and work schedules. Above this, we find 6 slicers containing the 6 breakout columns. These slicers give an estimator the tools he needs to drill down into a project and to get the totals he needs for different areas. After a job has been awarded, a kit builder would select the office area and very quickly have all the parts that he needs to send out into the field to complete the office work. He could further just select the branch power or lighting or any other phase that he needs to prepare. So we are going to select the office area only, office area. So now we select the office area, and now we've reduced the job down to what the office area should include. Now, as you can see from the breakout charts, 4 breakouts in column 2 were associated with office, and only on 4 drawings where there's anything selected. So if I wanted just the lighting area, I click on lighting, and that is all that's involved in the office area. The next worksheet that we're going to talk about is the estimate with the unit prices worksheet, and it's located on the 3rd tab at the bottom of the screen. You will see that when you open it, it looks identical to the estimate worksheet that we talked about, except we have now 2 additional columns. We have a job assembly material unit price and a job assembly labor unit value, and which will display the unit material for each and unit labor for each of the assemblies in the job. Everything else works identically to the other worksheet. Okay, so the next worksheet I want to talk about is the parts quantity per assembly worksheet. Let's access it by clicking on the 4th tab at the bottom of the screen, and you will see that it looks very similar to what we've been looking at all along, except it has an additional column here called quantity per assembly. What this is showing is how many individual parts are in a single one of these job assemblies. Not the extended value, which is shown quantity, but is shown in column F, but what is in each individual one. The other new feature that we see on this worksheet is these values that are shown up here at the top of the screen. And this is very important because this allows me to do a deep analysis of my estimate. I can see things that I would never see anywhere else. And the way what these values show are in column D2, we have the total number of job assemblies on this job. There's 12,379 job assemblies, individual job assemblies on this project. The total cost of them is shown in column G2. That's $53,658. Properly said, I would probably be saying 2G. In 2I, I have 1,932 man hours. In 2K, I have a unit price of $4.33. In column 2L, I have a 0.16 man hours for this whole project for each one of the 12,000 items. I'm using a cost per hour of $65. This is an interactive field. I can put any value in I want in here, and my value on the right hand side is going to change dynamically. So where is this important? It's important if I wanted to go and look at, let's just say, branch rough. I wanted to analyze branch rough on this project. Okay, and in branch rough, there's only 88 components. Branch rough is $32,288. I have an average material price of $114, man hours of 4.42. So I could sit here and manipulate the cost per hour and come up with different values if I didn't think this was correct. If I wanted to see my light fixtures, there's my light fixtures. If I wanted to see the switch gear, there's switch gear. And as you can see, everything is changing dynamic. Let's look at something else. Let's clear this and let's go. I want to know how much is in my office. What's the office going to cost? Many times, many people get a telephone call. What is this costing for this area? How about the assembly area? How about the manufacturing area? Again, it has 34 components. There's a total cost of $18,390, 400 man hours. The total cost with excluding tax is $44,407. And I can come in here and say, okay, I want to see what this would be if I used only $35 an hour. If I wanted to use $125 an hour. How many times have you done a re-extension so that you could go see these values instantaneously? I don't think that there's any other way of doing this quickly anywhere else. I want to go see what the underfloor duct is going to cost me. There's my underfloor duct for the teledata. It's going to cost $969. I want to see what the excavation is going to cost me. It's $18,252. I want to see what the type E1 light fixture is. There's my type E1 light fixture. Where does it exist? And there's where it shows me where it exists. How about air conditioning unit number 1? There's the wiring for air conditioning unit number 1. Number 2. You know, some of these things you cannot do any other way. This is the simplest and best way to be able to analyze and do a deep look at a job. Each one of these job assemblies has a unit material and unit labor value associated with it if you're looking at the whole thing. So it's a very, very, very powerful way of looking at an estimate. Up until this time, all the worksheets that we've explained have been based on assembly level takeoff. This next worksheet is a parts combined worksheet that shows all the parts from all the assemblies broken down and totaled together. The worksheet gives us the ability to find things by part number. You can use these filters at the top of the screen to come down and say, I want just these parts, or you can do it by description. You can just say, I want to see only for cert description. All the sliders on the right hand side allow you to go and find all the switchgear parts, all the fire alarm parts, all the branch rough parts, all the temporary power parts, all the trenching parts, everything that you need to be able to break down a job and look in that job individually. And there's also a parts combined with unit worksheet that gives you the material unit and the labor unit. Everything else works the same way. We can still drill down through it. We can still locate items by description or by part number. Okay, now that I've spent a little bit of time talking about what we call the major worksheets, I want to spend a little bit of time about some of the miscellaneous worksheets that are also available to be used with the bid management system. The first one I want to talk about is the special cost code worksheet, where the table shows all the items in the estimate broken down by the special cost code. If you recall, I said that the WinTRF system allows the estimator to assign a cost code that overrides the internal cost codes from the parts file for all the parts that are in the system. This is going to be quite different than what the next table that I'm going to show you that is assigned by parts file cost codes. An estimator could bring a job down in 6 different or 7 different areas rather than, as you can see on this next one, there's actually 27 different areas that he would have to examine and look at. Maybe this is easier to look at in some cases, maybe it's not. But that's why we have both of them, to give you the opportunity to use both of them. The next worksheet is the breakout number 1 breakout that breaks things down by the first column. The items in the first column, you can select and unselect things from that slider. Breakout number 2 breaks it down by the items in the second column. Breakout number 3 breaks it down by the items in the third column. Breakout number 4 breaks it down by the drawing lists. Breakout number 5 breaks it down by the 5th column, and breakout number 6 breaks it down by the last column. Now I want to say this too. These breakouts that you're seeing on the screen you don't have to use this order of them. You don't have to have your systems in the second column. You could have drawings in your system column. You could have areas in your system column. You could have buildings in your section. It depends. When you set up your estimate inside the WinTRF program, it's exported out to this bid management system. It comes out the way you set it in the bid management program. And that's something that's extremely powerful. You don't have to do anything else. When you send this out to the bid management system, it's already configured and assigned the way it is. It takes a little bit of time to create the work file and that may take 5, 6, 7, 8 minutes, but depending on the size of the job. But you will have all the data exactly the way you took it off in the WinTRF estimating system. It's linked together. It's a magical way that the whole system works. Thank you for listening and watching. Hopefully I've been helpful.